I asked and you answered. Canada and Liberia were tied, so I'll do both, but I'll go with Canada first. The land of poutine, maple syrup, waterfalls, and some of the most amazing people you'll meet is home for the iconic maple leaf and many other great city flags that I covered in a previous video. It's divided into 10 provinces and 3 territories, each with its own flag. Although they're not as bad as many American state flags, some of these are actually great, but a few need some work. I'm looking at you, Ontario and Manitoba. So join me in this video with this beaver, moose, and Canada goose as we explore how medieval symbols, Christian saints, beautiful provincial flowers, dogs, tridents, and indigenous Inukshuks shaped Canada's flags today. We'll also learn about the other Canadian flags you didn't know about, and for a country that calls their $1 and $2 coins loonies and toonies, I have a feeling this will be a fun video, so let's start with Ontario. My favorite province has my least favorite flag. It's boring and uninspired. The red ensign with the Union Jack and a small emblem in the middle is similar to Fiji and the old flags of South Africa, India, and Canada itself. In fact, both Ontario and Manitoba adopted their flags when the old Canadian ensign was ditched in favor of the current maple leaf flag. For Ontario's symbols, we could go with one of two options. We could use the 3 maple leaves we find on the badge for the current flag, or we could go with the official provincial flower, the Territorial. The flower's design changed over the years, but it's still remaining as Ontario's logo, and we can see it on government websites, ID cards, and the Order of Ontario's medal. I chose to go with this flower. Picking the colors for Ontario was also hard. On one hand, we have the official provincial colors, which are green and yellow. We could also go with blue for the lakes, or red, which feels more like Ontario, I guess, because of the flag. But green is a dominant color in Ontario. You can see it in the provincial coat of arms, en routes, GO trains, and the officially recognized Franco-Ontarian flag as well. So I made some mock-ups with green along with yellow, which is also an official color and is a beautiful combination to go with green. I also made some with red and white, so they represent the current ensign and Canada's flag as well. And this one is my favorite. The 2 lines represent Ontario being one of the 2 provinces during the 1867 Canadian Confederation along with Quebec. The lines are wavy to represent the Great Lakes and Hudson Bay bordering Ontario. Let's hop on that Via Rail and travel east to Quebec, where we're greeted by one of the coolest flags. It's meant to be the embodiment of the French-Canadian culture, and it's done in such a minimalist way with a great color scheme. The fleur-de-lis was a symbol of the French monarchy since the 13th century, and it was introduced as a reference to the Virgin Mary. I covered the evolution of the French arms in a previous video, but Quebec's flag stays, no changes needed here. Before we travel to the next province in this merry land, I want to point out that although most French Canadians are in Quebec, the other 1 million French Canadian communities living around Canada created their own officially recognized flags. Moving on to Nova Scotia, we have another banger. This flag was adopted in 1929, but it was modeled after the province's coat of arms, which dates back to 1625 when King James VI of Scotland and the First of England granted it to the first Scottish settlers in the Canadian mainland. It features the Scottish royal arms of the red lion on a yellow shield, which were first used by King William the Lion in the 12th century. The lion is placed on top of a blue saltire St. Andrew's cross similar to the Scottish flag, which takes its name after the X-shaped cross St. Andrew was martyred on, and that's why the British embassies fly the Scottish flag on his feast day. It's also worth noting that Nova Scotia changed their arms to this one with a fish and Scottish thistles for a while, so it could have been the flag had they not reverted back to St. Andrew's Cross. I originally thought about adding red sections within the flag for a Canadian reference, but the current Nova Scotia flag is so much nicer, it's simple, meaningful, and looks amazing. Just like Maryland's state flag, New Brunswick has a busy but beautiful banner of arms. It's a bit complex and complicated, but it's recognizable from a distance, it's unique, elegant, and has a great color palette. It's also taken from the provincial coat of arms originally granted to them by Queen Victoria in 1868. The red lion comes from England's arms as well as the arms of the Duchy of Brunswick from the Middle Ages in modern-day Germany. And although it breaks NAVA's rules, I think flag design is an art, not a science, and this one, in my opinion, is gorgeous and has character. Similar to Ontario, Manitoba has this boring red ensign with the provincial arms. I made some mock-ups with the same symbols and used different colors, which gave me these cool flags. I eventually decided to go with this simple design, which keeps the provincial arms from the current flag and feels more like Manitoba. I added red and white bars to represent Canada's flag and the English flag seen on Manitoba's coat of arms currently. British Columbia's banner of arms is so busy and unnecessarily complicated, but for me, it crosses over to the good side because it's cool and unique in its own way. I do think the crown is kind of redundant since we have the Union Jack. The word British is in the province's name, so I want to keep the Union Jack, but we could simplify it a bit while keeping all the elements besides the crown so it keeps the personality. Prince Edward Island has one lanky lion, but it's an interesting concept that comes from their coat of arms with the incomplete border. The large oak tree on the right was intended to represent England, while the 3 saplings stand for the province's 3 counties. So I went ahead and completed the border, and I replaced the 3 realistic-looking trees with the 3 oak leaves for the counties, since the English lion is still represented in the flag. Saskatchewan has the only green and yellow color combination in Canada, and instead of converting their coat of arms to a flag like the other provinces, this Englishman and Canadian lady came up with this original design. They used the Provincial flower, which is called the Western Red Lily, and it can be improved if we simplify it and remove the stem, but I like it. I think it's already distinctive enough even when the wind isn't blowing, so I think I would keep this one as is. Alberta's blue banner could be confused for the uninspired American state flags, but the symbols have potential. So I'm using the emblem on the flag and incorporating the English flag reference with the red bar through the white section. But even then, it looks a bit empty, so I added the Provincial flower, the wild rose, in the middle. It does have 5 colors, but they're all meaningful and I think it looks cool. Newfoundland and Labrador has this unofficial flag called the Newfoundland tricolor with pink, but I think it looks like a boring version of Italy. The official flag, however, was designed by Christopher Pratt, who was a famous Canadian artist. The island part of the province is Newfoundland and the mainland part is Labrador, which has its own cool flag as well. In short, I like the weird and unique flag, and when it's displayed vertically, it forms a trident which symbolizes the province's association with fisheries and other resources under the sea. We could pull an Ohio and make it a 3-pointed flag, but I think it looks nice already. The Northwest Territories has what is called the Canadian Pale, which is when a center band of a vertical tri-band flag covers half of the width of a flag. It was designed by a man from Manitoba, and he designed blue for its abundant waters and white for the snow. The coat of arms in the middle is one of my favorites in Canada, and it has 2 narwhals and a wolf. It was designed by Alain Bédot. He was an artist who founded the Royal Heraldry Society of Canada, and I love this coat of arms so much that I turned it into a flag for the territories, and it includes the same symbolism we find in the emblem. Moving on to Yukon. No, not Yukon Striker the roller coaster, but Yukon the province, which has a Canadian pale flag that stands for its forests, snow, and rivers. But my favorite part is the central coat of arms with the Alaskan Malamute on top. It was also designed by Alain Bédot, and it looks good, so I'm also turning it into a flag while keeping the same symbolism and colors like the previous one. Nunavut is another great design in this bunch. Like its coat of arms with the narwhal and the smiling caribou, the territory's flag is original with the Inukshuk, which is a type of stone landmark found in northern Canada, Greenland, and Alaska, and it was used for navigation, but Inukshuks deserve a video on their own. I've seen some redesigns and variants with different colors online, but I really like the original one more than any of these. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would change, if any, down in the comments below. If you're looking to watch a similar video, check out this one or browse the playlist for more. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for similar videos, and I will see you next time on Council of Knowledge.